Okay, so I want you to envision, Kate and Danny, your body being split into 3 sections. So from the waist down, section 1, bottom half. From hips to here, section 2, trunks and core. From here up, section 3, upper body. Every section has roles they have to play to be in a concentric zone. So when I use the word concentric, what that means is eccentric means load. So eccentric is when I'm pulling my weight back from something. Concentric is when I'm exploding my weight too. So the reason why we call it concentric is because we want to explode our weight through the hit, but we want to maximize the power we're throwing into that hit. So there's 2 things. If you're right eye dominant, the biggest thing is making sure that this chin is all the way to the shoulder and you're seeing that pitch with 2 eyes. The other thing is you can stand in a bit of an open stance. So your front foot's going to pull a little bit further back. No point should we be in a closed stance, which means our front foot is ahead of the back foot. So we're either in neutral, and what I want is, because we're struggling to get to the ball, your feet should be directly towards the plate, not pigeon-toed at all, not duck feet, but not pigeon-toed, directly towards the plate, or in a little bit of an open stance so you can see the ball better. So our first load, our first eccentric load, is actually in our hips. So our body weight needs to be in this neutral position. We can't be already loaded back here. So you can see how my weight's back here right now. I need to be here. I need to be in a nice central, almost as if I were to take a basketball shoot right now. That's what I want it to feel like, okay? Not too bent, not too hunched. And when we're in this position, I'm tall. I'm not over like this. I'm not too lean. I'm nice and tall. So I want you to like envision standing in a straight line. Feet are gonna be just kind of inside the knee zone. Easiest way is like kind of like almost bat length in a sense, but longer bats are gonna go a little bit shorter, just inside bat length. And we are gonna be in a neutral position or open stance. Nice, comfy body weight, not too bent. Our first eccentric load is loading our energy into our back hip. So load number 1, if you just focus on the bottom half of my body right now, load number 1 is getting ready, pitch is about to come. I load into the back hip, but you can see here, I'm not leaning. My weight isn't in my back foot. My weight is in my back hip. So I want you to feel it in this area of your hip. So it should be loaded to the back hip. My energy is now in eccentric, ready to explode. I'm loading into the back hip without shifting my weight. If I get too far back here, I now can't explode through the zone in a timely manner. So central weight, load into the back hip. So I'm still lined up with this back foot, I'm not back here. Our second load, which is still considered the first, is the step. You see it all over MLB, it's about to come out in softball even more now this year. But with concentric, it's about getting all of that power stacked in here so we can concentrically hit it forward. So what we mean by that is you're gonna take a step, but your step's gonna be into the back hip. It's gonna be like this, it's not gonna be leaning all of our weight back. So it was even just a little bit of a step. So if you're starting open, it's a step back into the zone. So first weight is loaded to the back hip. Second is the step to split. When I split, this foot is landing on a 45-degree angle. This is now allowing my front hip to open just a bit, so I'm gonna be faster at getting around the ball. So load, step to split. I'm opening up my hips. My hands are still staying back, and I want that elastic band feel. So if my hands are back here, it's almost as if I'm loading that elastic band to snap it back and let it go. So we're here, here, nice and loaded still with the hands. Our first movement from the middle torque of the hips is now I want you to envision all of this weight here, upper body pulling back, all of the trunk and legs kind of start to pull forward. So now you're gonna load back even further with the upper body, but you can see my lower body's starting to kind of push forward into a concentric pattern. So now I'm going towards it here. My hands are still back, and what that's gonna help do is gonna create a nice, even back path. You see how my arms are in a power V here? They have to be tight to the body. If we're too far back like this and straight, we're gonna cast and we're not gonna get through the ball. So as we're pulling back, I want you to envision elastic band in a V shape, in an L shape, nice and tight to the body. That's gonna help you stay through the zone on a good barrel to back path, okay? So from load to step to split, to load, upper body load, to explode, we wanna make sure that our lower half, loading into the back hip, step to split, 45-degree angle. Our middle half starts to pull as our hands stay back, start the resistance so we can explode even further. And our third half is our hands staying nice and tight to the body, this L-shaped V form, and we're pulling back as this body's pulling forward, and then exploding through the zone and finishing high. So what I noticed about the video is you were started already weight shifted. That's gonna make your timing way off. Your weight was already here. Our weight has to be neutral, and we only shift into the hip, not the back foot. So neutral, as we shift, the back goes back, step to split, back goes back even more. Now we start to fire the hips, which then fires the arms, which then drives the hands, which then finish the swing. I will break it down with you even more. I need to get you on video to see what's happening. The other thing is making sure our head is on barrel and path with the ball. So we're not like this. Our head is still nice and solid, but it should almost be as if you're trying to kiss the barrel of the bat. So it's like right in line with that barrel of that bat. So not forward, should be behind your hands. Barrel of the bat should be a little bit lower than the hands. But that will naturally happen if your hands are in a V shape, you're nice and tight, we load, step to split, we drive, push, hands are lower, you can see there, finish connection, and go. We do not get to spectate our hit, which means as soon as you hit, don't move your head from this area. Work on steering in this area, work on head being nice and tall, eyes right on that barrel of that bat, and making sure that our head isn't too lean, but just enough so we can see just in this plain area that we're trying to hit the ball. Breaking it down a little bit more is making sure that when we're doing this, you start off the tee, because you need to make sure your form's good. If you miss a step from the bottom half or the trunk half or the upper half, it all falls out of line. We lose all of our loaded energy. It all just gets wasted into the ground. So that's why these tiny little steps are making a big difference for you right now. So we're gonna break it down. Like if you're gonna be working off the tees or hitting right now, I want you getting to a point to where you work on just feeling the load in the hip, step to split, pause, 1, 2, 3, check your arms, are they bent? And then slow motion swinging to get the feel for it. Off a machine, you're gonna start the load as soon as that pitch is getting ready to drop into that ball area there, because it's not much timing speed there, right? So as soon as that area is getting ready to drop in there, that's where you're gonna start this. Make sure we're not started loaded back. It's neutral, our head's right there, or we start in the open stance. Our arms aren't too far back that now I have a straight arm. They're in a nice bent V position. Our knob will go towards the catcher when I do my step to split, but at that point, my hands are throwing it back to the zone. If our knob goes to the catcher before my step to split, now my arm and all my loaded energy is gone, and I'm just trying to catch up to the ball. We want to swing with our body, not our back. We want to get this involved, not just this barrel. So making sure that we're in a good, ready position to do that. If you want help, feel free to reach out, but I'm hoping these little couple of core steps will help you out just a bit, and just working on some key points, such as loading in the hip, not being back foot heavy. You should feel this foot off of that step to split. You should feel this foot naturally lifting. So like there's some markers you can look for. Look for you feeling it in your hip, step to split, 45-degree angle, this heel starts to left. When we start the drive is when it twists, okay? And making sure our head's staying in, and we're in a nice V bend, and we are pulling. So remember, it's almost as if the pitcher has a lasso pulling the front leg at you, and the catcher has a lasso pulling the back at you, the bat of the bat at you. And that way, when we're in that extension phase, when we're getting to go barrel to bat phase, we're going here, step to split, we're pulled, all this energy is going there, all this energy is going here, and then drive, push, finish. And I'm naturally gonna get in this nice front leg post, and the axle of my back's gonna go around the axle of my body.